I mean, I know that the Academy Award admissions rules are changing this year. I mean, so maybe it'll have a shot at getting nominated because there are a lot of movies that were supposed to come to theaters but never actually did, right?
True.
Like Capone was one of them, right?
True. True.
Remember Capone?
Yes, I do remember Capone. Very,
All right.
very sad.
Gonorrhea will kill you, and so will syphilis. Now on to a review of the film Palm Springs, starring Andy Samberg and Cristin Milioti. As always, we're going to talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, and then we're going to offer our final review. First things first, here is a quick look at the synopsis. When carefree Niles and reluctant maid of honor Sarah have a chance encounter at a Palm Springs wedding, things get complicated as they are unable to escape the venue, themselves, or each other. And to put it simply, this is basically a Groundhog Day kind of redo, but a version of the movie in which one person stuck in the time loop can bring someone else into that time loop with them.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you first, Will, what did you like about this movie?
This was actually a funny film. I went into this movie thinking it's a typical teen comedy, all the same jokes and antics, but it actually brought more to the table than I expected. Also, the thought of being stuck in a wedding time loop had me recalling all the routine experiences from all the weddings like you and I actually have filmed over the course of the last 10 years. And what I mean by that is the redundancy of what a wedding entails. And after like the fifth wedding, maybe the third, it just felt like we were in our own time loop because we just knew
the same wedding
every
over and over.
over and over again. Same thing. When we think of being stuck in a time loop, we think of doing anything and everything, knowing that there won't be any consequences. But I never thought about what could have occurred in that day, which could dictate how you would have to deal with it every single day.
Yeah, it's the concept of people forget what you do because they will loop, right? But you remember what you do, and you have to live with what you do and the consequences of it. And we talk about that.
Yeah, and I was just like, wow, that was interesting to watch. I think having no explanation. Well, and the other thing too is just having no explanation when we talk about the whole technical aspect of the time loop. Like no explanation how the time loop came into existence, and it being located in a random cave in Palm Springs, maybe a little thin, but like knowing that many people can get stuck in the same loop once they enter was interesting. Like this is how Niles and Sarah get caught up in it, as well as Roy, who was played by J.K. Simmons. It was great.
He was so good in this. He's good in everything.
He's always great.
Here's the thing for me is that if you're doing a sci-fi time loop, you have to really almost get into the details of why this loop exists and how you're going to get out of it. If you're doing like a rom-com, I think so. If it's sci-fi, because the devil is in the details. But if it's a rom-com like Groundhog Day or Palm Springs, I don't think you don't want to dwell in that. So that's why I feel like
more on the comedy of it and the situations.
On the premise. So here I thought it was campy, but it should be campy. Is kind of what I thought about it. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, so what I really enjoyed though was just focusing on the comedy and the story of this was just the chemistry between Niles and Sarah. They really complemented each other in every scene. My favorite scene was when they were eating burritos and Sarah was asking who Niles has had sex with while stuck in the loop. And I laughed so hard when he tells her how he had sex with her dad. There was even a flashback. And just the details of that, you have to watch it. If you have Hulu, like
you have to watch it.
You have to watch it. I just literally died laughing. It felt like a soap opera moment. It was so funny, but it was also hilarious. I'm thinking about it now. It's also hilarious to see Roy hunting Niles and killing him multiple times due to his grudge against him for trapping him in the time loop. And how that happens is basically like they both are basically high, and so they finally cave, and that's how it happens basically.
Well, I really like the two romantic leads, Samberg and Milioti. They play two fully fleshed out, fully realized human beings that we not only related to, but we wanted the best for. And it's rare to like watch a romantic comedy these days where the characters are unique and not some cookie cutter version of characters that we've seen over and over again. And Samberg and Milioti really had genuine chemistry here, and I really kind of was rooting for them to succeed right? The movie is a comedy, and even though it deals with a time loop, which is something out of science fiction, it treats the logic of it with a perfect amount of camp and humor. I mean, the special effects are cheesy, but they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And they don't take that whole time loop element too seriously because they're not supposed to, in my opinion, you know?
Yeah.
So the whole idea of a cave which just opened up after an earthquake, with that being the cause of the time loop, and then you enter the cave, you enter the time loop, and they don't really get into it more than that, which I don't think they really need to.
No.
We talked about J.K. Simmons as Roy. He is good in everything that he's in. I mean, Whiplash, he won an Academy Award for, and he is just so damn funny in this. And kind of like we talked about, he plays a character accidentally pulled into the time loop with Niles, since Niles was basically going through a cocaine and alcohol fueled bender, and he was just like what J.K. Simmons, his character, says, "Oh, I wish we could just live this night over and over and over again." And then yeah, Niles says, "Okay," and then he pulls him into the cave. So yeah, I would be pretty pissed too. I loved one of the central themes in the movie as well, which is that, you know, whether the day repeats and everyone forgets what you've done, you still remember and you have to live with what you do. Yeah. And I think it's a reminder to us that even though we try to run from our problems in real life and the people around us may not know about all of our baggage and the skeletons in our closet, the fact is they're always going to be there and we're going to eventually have to face them. And that's something that the characters have to grapple with here as well. So, yeah, that's what I liked. Let's talk about what we didn't like. Back to you, Will. Anything you didn't like?
I didn't have high expectations for this film going into it, and I didn't have any serious issues with it at all because of that.
Okay.
I think I watched it for what it was, and it was good. It was fun. Don't take it seriously. Literally, just to watch it for what it is and it's actually good. It's not just like a good mindless fun. It's actually like, oh wow, this is actually a decent story with great comedy. And Andy Samberg is kind of scaring me with his way how he's like acting kind of more reserved, but you know what? Yeah. It's good. You see him stretching himself. So
other than that opening masturbation scene where he's completely naked, right? That's a little less reserved there. That's a little more
only because
that's a little more dick in the box.
But but
than other stuff in the movie.
I really felt like that really set up the scene of like, why is he like, you know, you see his beautiful girlfriend and then like you know the way she's acting like she needs to go and he's so restless and you're thinking, well, maybe he's just, you know, like just really not looking forward to his wedding, and then you realize, oh, he's stuck in a time loop. So it just kind of made...
Who knows how many days he's been in this loop, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what about you? Yeah. What didn't you like?
There's really nothing that I disliked. The movie really did grab me from the get-go. And when a movie does that, I'm willing to forgive a lot of its shortcomings. If I had to nitpick, there was a side storyline that has to do with Sarah's complicated love life, but they revealed it in such a way that you are asking for an answer to a question presented earlier on.
Yes.
And so it was really smart for them to do that. So I didn't have a huge problem with that or really any part of this movie. Like we were saying, this is a certain type of movie, and I think these types of movies should be appreciated for what they are, and it really did execute perfectly. It's a romantic comedy, and it's kind of based off of a tried and true formula that was established by movies like Groundhog Day, and I thought it really just was really, really fun to watch. Anyway, let's get to our final review of the film. You first, Will.
I give it a 3.5. Fun watch, good acting, fun different portrayal of a time loop story. So definitely give it a watch, give it a go. You're gonna enjoy it. So yeah.
I give it 4 stars, and I know that might seem a little high, but like we were saying, some people think a 4-star rating is really high for a movie in this genre. But like I said before, it clicks on all cylinders. Every plot point is properly explained and realized. The script is airtight. Tonally, it was directed the way it should have been, and all the characters in the story, they really line up perfectly, and it was well executed. The characters are fully fleshed out and understandable, and most of all, the movie is really fun and laugh out loud funny. And like we were saying, there's really nothing wrong with it, and it's just a really fun watch, well executed. So I have to give it 4 stars.
Too bad this can't be nominated for an Academy Award.
Maybe it could.
Can it?
Yeah.
Even though it wasn't.
It was purchased at Sundance for, I believe, a record $17.5 million, and the idea was that it was supposed to get a theatrical run, so that was the original intention. I mean, I know that the Academy Award admissions rules are changing this year. I mean, so maybe it'll have a shot at getting nominated, because there are a lot of movies that were supposed to come to theaters but never actually did, right?
True.
Like Capone was one of them, right?
True.
Remember Capone?
Yes, I do remember Capone.
All right.
Very sad.
Yes. Gonorrhea will kill you, and so will syphilis.